sometimes when we get in relationships, we have these problems where we're not getting what we want, or someone's doing something we don't like, and we need a way to get what we want and to stop them from doing something we don't like. And when we're in this situation, we have to be very careful not to get trapped in the blame game. So this is where you want something, or you're disappointed with some behavior, and you try to get that behavior by blaming the other person for having some negative trait, like making an accusation like you're selfish or you're cruel or whatever it is. So this is problematic, because when you accuse someone of something, or when you label a behavior as selfish or whatever it is, this will likely put the other person into a defensive position. Because when you attack somebody, what you're really attacking is their self-concept, which is possibly the most precious thing we have. This ability to look at yourself in a positive light and say, I feel I'm a good person, I feel I'm a giving person, whatever it is. And when someone accuses you of something, that attacks at that precious thing that you have. So it's very important when you get into a conflict with the one you love that you keep in mind what your actual goal is. What is your goal? Is your goal to be right? Is your goal to be vengeful and hurt that person? Or are you part of a team? Because in a relationship, it can't be so that one person wins, one person is right, the other person is wrong, the other person loses, because if one person loses, most likely you lose together. And so what you really want to keep in mind is that ultimately, when you're with someone in a romantic relationship, you guys are a team. So you want to make sure, if it comes to an argument, that you're not setting your goal to hurt that person simply because you're angry, because you're a team. You don't want to hurt a member of your team. You want the whole team to be strong because you're in it together. So you should make the best of it. You should be careful with throwing insults. Also be careful when it comes to being right. So when you're getting into a situation like that, talk about what you want. Talk about how you feel, but be very careful when it comes to insulting the other person. Because if you put them on the defensive, you likely won't get what you want. And this brings me to another point. Let's say, for example, you're just so frustrated or you're so angry, and the idea that you love them or that you're a team is difficult to keep in mind at that moment. Well, let's forget about the team concept for a second. Let's look at it from a purely self-interested way or angle. So you want to get what you want to get. So think about the best way to get what you want. Is the best way to get what you want by throwing insults or screaming or whatever it is? Or is there a better way to get what you want? Is there a better way to influence that person? So let's just say you're angry. Forget about that anger, because the anger isn't the important thing here. The important thing is that you want to get what you want. So rather than focusing on if you're right, because you being right isn't necessarily going to get what you want, and you throwing the most effective insult also likely won't help you get what you want. Think about it. Separate yourself for a moment from your feelings and think, what can you say or do that will increase the other person's motivation to give you what you want? Because that's, at the end of the day, what's really important. Not being right, not expressing anger, or not throwing insults and helping them to understand how terrible they are. What you really want to do is get what you want. So think about, what can you say to influence the other person to give you what you want? What can you do? Now you may be thinking, why should I do anything? Why should I say anything nice? Well, you should, because You need to have your need fulfilled. That's what's important. Welcome to Genius Coaching. But what is a genius? It's a person who's really smart, right? True. But there's also an ancient meaning behind the word. It all started in ancient Rome. The Romans believed that everyone was born with a guiding spirit. The purpose of this spirit was to give people their abilities, their talents. So, if you were really smart, it was because you had a genius who endowed you with that ability. Over time, the meaning changed, with abilities like intelligence being thought of as part of your personality. So rather than having a genius, you yourself became a genius. The ancient meaning behind the word genius is the reason why my services are called Genius Coaching. A genius is a guide who empowers you, and it's only right that you should feel empowered. After all, we are all equal as human beings. We all have the same ability to be happy and fulfill our needs. And my purpose is to give you the tools to awaken your abilities. It's so common that we get trapped by negative thinking. We get intimidated. We feel weakened by stress. We become anxious and get depressed. And once you get caught up in that negative thinking, you feel like that's who you are, but it's not who you are. This is why it's so useful to have a coach. Someone who can see you without limitations and guide you into the light of your own inner potential. If you'd like to talk to me, all you need to do is head over to the Genius Coaching Facebook page and say hello. Thank you for watching and enjoy your day.